New York City, 1985, a concrete jungle shrouded in darkness. Neon lights flickered, casting an eerie glow on rain-slicked streets. Graffiti-scarred buildings scraped the sky. A symphony of sirens wailed in the distance. The stench of fear and desperation hung heavy in the air. This was a city teetering on the edge of chaos. The shadows held secrets. They whispered of forgotten crimes and unspeakable horrors. Among them moved creatures of the night, their hunger insatiable. They preyed on the innocent, draining their life force and leaving behind only empty shells. The city that never sleeps was caught in the grip of an ancient evil, an evil that thrived in the darkness, an evil that would test the limits of faith and courage. Sister Mary Grace sought solace within the hallowed halls of St. Christopher's Church. Once she had walked a different path, a badge on her chest instead of a cross. Detective Margaret O'Connell, they called her. Tough, relentless, haunted by the darkness she had witnessed on the force. The years melted away in the quiet rhythm of prayer and contemplation. But the past had a way of catching up. It arrived on a night like any other. The confessional box, a sanctuary of secrets, became a battleground. A familiar voice, laced with a chilling hunger, shattered the silence. The scent of blood filled the air. Sister Mary Grace's heart pounded against her ribs, a drumbeat of dread. Her past and present collided in a terrifying instant. He had been a parishioner, a lost soul seeking solace. Every Sunday he would sit in the back pew, head bowed, hands clasped in silent prayer. The weight of his sins bore heavily on his shoulders, and the confessional was his only refuge. The church, with its towering spires and stained glass windows, was a sanctuary from the chaos of the outside world. But tonight, something was different. The air was thick with an unsettling tension, and the shadows seemed to dance with a life of their own. Now, his eyes burned with an unholy light. His teeth, once stained with nicotine, were elongated, razor-sharp. The transformation had been swift and brutal, a descent into darkness that left him unrecognizable. The man who once sought redemption was now a creature of the night, driven by an insatiable hunger. His humanity had been stripped away, replaced by a primal, predatory instinct. He lunged, a blur of fury and fangs. The pews and altar blurred in his peripheral vision as he focused solely on his target. The church, once a place of peace, was now a battleground. The echoes of his snarls reverberated off the stone walls, a chilling reminder of the monster he had become. Sister Mary Grace reacted instinctively. Years of police training kicked in. She had joined the convent seeking a different kind of peace, but her past had prepared her for moments like this. Her movements were swift and precise, a testament to her discipline and resolve. She had faced danger before, but never anything like this. She dodged, her hand finding the heavy crucifix hanging at her waist. The cool metal was a comforting weight in her palm, a reminder of her faith and the strength it gave her. She had always believed in the power of the cross, but tonight it was more than a symbol. It was her lifeline. It was more than a symbol of faith now. It was a weapon. The crucifix, with its intricate carvings and polished surface, gleamed in the dim light. Sister Mary Grace wielded it with determination, her grip steady and sure. She knew that this was a battle not just for her life, but for her soul. He hissed, his voice a guttural rasp. The sound was inhuman, a chilling reminder of the darkness that had consumed him. His eyes, once filled with sorrow, were now cold and calculating. He was no longer the man she had known, but a creature driven by a malevolent force.
You cannot hide from me, Margaret. I know your sins. His voice was a twisted mockery of the man he once was, filled with malice and contempt. The name Margaret echoed in the empty church, a cruel reminder of her past. He had uncovered her secret, the name she had left behind when she took her vows. It was a name she had hoped to forget, but he had dragged it back into the light.
But Sister Mary Grace clung to her faith, a shield against the darkness. Her heart raced, but her resolve was unshaken. She had faced her demons before, and she would face them again. The crucifix in her hand was a beacon of hope, a reminder that she was not alone. She whispered a prayer, drawing strength from the words, "Sister Mary, the power of Christ compels you." Her voice rang out, strong and unwavering. The words were a declaration of her faith, a challenge to the darkness that threatened to consume her. She raised the crucifix high, its presence a defiant stand against the evil before her. She cried, plunging the crucifix into his chest. He screamed, a sound of pure agony. The force of the impact sent a shockwave through the church, the echoes of his pain reverberating off the walls. The light from the crucifix seemed to burn through the darkness, a beacon of hope in the midst of despair. Then, silence. Sister Mary Grace stared at the body, her heart pounding. The church was eerily quiet, the only sound the ragged breaths escaping her lips. She had done what she had to, but the weight of her actions pressed heavily on her soul. The man who lay before her was once a lost soul, just like her. Now he was gone, and she was left to grapple with the consequences. She had crossed a line. There was no turning back. The realization hit her like a tidal wave, the enormity of her actions crashing down on her. She had taken a life, even if it was to save her own. The line between good and evil had blurred, and she was left standing in the gray area, questioning everything she had ever believed. The church, once a sanctuary, now felt like a prison, the walls closing in around her. She knew that her journey was far from over, and the path ahead was shrouded in uncertainty. The church, once a sanctuary, felt tainted. The hallowed halls, which had once echoed with hymns and prayers, now stood silent, bearing witness to the horrors that had unfolded within. The flickering candles cast eerie shadows on the walls, dancing like restless spirits. The scent of blood lingered in the air, a grim reminder of the battle fought and the war to come. The floor, once pristine, was now marred with dark crimson stains, each one telling a story of struggle and sacrifice. The air was thick with the metallic tang of blood, mingling with the faint scent of incense. Sister Mary Grace knelt before the altar, her rosary beads slipping through her fingers. Her lips moved in silent prayer, seeking solace and strength from a higher power. The beads, worn smooth from years of devotion, were a lifeline in this moment of despair. She had taken a life, even one twisted by evil. The weight of her actions bore heavily on her soul, each drop of blood on her hands a testament to the battle she had fought. She had been trained to heal, to offer comfort and peace, but now she was a warrior, her hands stained with the blood of her enemies. But the true horror lay in the words he had uttered with his dying breath. His eyes, wide with terror, had locked onto hers as he gasped out his final message. The fear in his voice was palpable, sending chills down her spine.
"The vampire bitch," he had gasped. "She commands us all." The name hung in the air, heavy with dread and foreboding. It was a name that struck fear into the hearts of even the bravest souls. A name that promised death and destruction.
A name whispered in fear and reverence. It was a name that carried with it the weight of countless atrocities. A name that had become synonymous with darkness and evil. The vampire bitch was not just a foe. She was a force of nature, a harbinger of doom. The weight of responsibility settled upon Sister Mary Grace's shoulders. She had been chosen not by fate, but by necessity. The burden was heavy, but she bore it with a quiet strength, her resolve hardening with each passing moment. She had chosen a life of peace, but fate had other plans. The path she walked now was fraught with danger and uncertainty, but she would not falter. Her faith was her shield, her determination her sword. She was a warrior nun now, tasked with vanquishing an ancient evil. Her training had prepared her for this moment, but nothing could have truly readied her for the reality of the battle she faced. She was no longer just a servant of God. She was a soldier in his army. She would find the vampire bitch, no matter the cost. Her mission was clear, her purpose unwavering. She would hunt down this creature of the night, this embodiment of evil, and she would not rest until she had vanquished her. This was her new mission. This was her vow. With each step she took, she reaffirmed her commitment to this sacred duty. Her heart was steeled, her mind focused. She was Sister Mary Grace, warrior nun, and she would not be defeated. The streets of New York became her battlefield. Once bustling with life, these streets now echoed with the silence of the night, a silence that was both haunting and foreboding. The city that never sleeps seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the next move in a deadly game of cat and mouse. Gone were the days of quiet contemplation. The serene halls of the church, where she once found solace, were now a distant memory. The hymns that once filled the air were replaced by the whispers of the night, each one carrying a hint of danger. Sister Mary Grace had left behind the sanctuary of her faith to walk the perilous path of the city's dark underbelly. Sister Mary Grace traded her habit for a nondescript coat and veil, blending into the shadows. Her transformation was more than just physical, it was a shift in purpose. No longer just a servant of God, she became a warrior, a protector of the innocent. Her new attire allowed her to move unnoticed, a ghost in the night, ever watchful and ever ready. She sought out the city's underbelly, the forgotten corners where whispers of the night held the answers she sought. These were places where the light of day never reached, where the shadows held secrets and the air was thick with the scent of fear. It was in these dark alleys and hidden corners that she hunted, always on the lookout for the next clue, the next piece of the puzzle. Informants, once criminals she'd put away, became unlikely allies. They were the eyes and ears of the streets, their knowledge of the city's underworld invaluable. Each meeting was a delicate dance of trust and suspicion, but they shared a common enemy. They spoke in hushed tones, their words laced with fear and respect for the woman who now walked among them.
They spoke of a shadowy figure, a woman of unparalleled beauty and ruthlessness. Her name was whispered with a mix of awe and terror, a name that sent shivers down the spine of even the most hardened criminals. She was a phantom, a ghost story come to life. Her presence felt even when she was not seen. She controlled the city's underworld with an iron fist and a thirst for blood. Her influence was vast, her reach extending into every dark corner of the city. She was a queen in her own right, ruling over a kingdom of shadows and whispers. Her power was absolute, her will unchallenged, and her cruelty unmatched.
Each encounter brought her closer to the truth, but also deeper into danger. The path she walked was fraught with peril, each step taking her further into the heart of darkness. The closer she got, the more the shadows seemed to close in around her, their whispers growing louder, more insistent. But she pressed on, driven by a determination that burned brighter than any fear. Vampires lurked in the shadows, their eyes glowing with malice. These were not the romanticized creatures of legend, but true monsters, their humanity twisted by an insatiable hunger. They moved with a predatory grace, their every movement a testament to their deadly nature. They were the true rulers of the night, their presence a constant threat. They were no mindless beasts, but cunning predators, their humanity twisted by their insatiable hunger. They hunted with a cold, calculated efficiency, their eyes always watching, always waiting. They were the embodiment of the darkness that had taken hold of the city, their very existence a blight on the world. Sister Mary Grace fought them with the ferocity of a woman possessed, her faith her shield, her crucifix her sword. Each battle was a test of her resolve, a testament to her unyielding spirit. She faced the darkness head on, her faith a beacon of light in the endless night. Her crucifix was more than just a symbol, it was a weapon, a tool of divine justice. With every swing, she struck a blow against the darkness, her determination unwavering. The whispers in the dark were no match for the strength of her faith, and she vowed to continue the fight, no matter the cost.